The title of my presentation, and we will see why this title is legit or not, is in fact plenty of catfish, how to steal faces in the sea of online identity. Before getting to the point, I would just want to show you a very quick video, which is relevant for the topic. Okay, and then I will explain what it's about. Oh, sorry. Let's see if I can play the video. Apparently not.
Maybe if you go toward the bottom of the image, there's going to be a bar to select the play option.
Oh yeah, okay, found it. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Julie Adenuga.
And I'm Uber Butler, and we're the hosts of Catfish UK.
I feel like 2021 is a great time for Catfish UK because catfishing is happening more than ever now.
Yeah, the methods that people are using to catfish are more sophisticated than ever.
Yes.
And because like everyone's now living online, they're meeting people online, they're doing every aspect of their lives online, we need to step in to help them because there's a lot of lying going on.
And I think when everybody first saw Catfish, that blew people's minds. Oh my goodness, this person's whole life, you know, like everybody was really confused. But now there's so many subtle ways. You don't even have to create a whole complete fake profile to be a catfish.
Yeah.
And I think in the UK, the amount of catfish stories that I've heard, it's time that we spoke to some of those people.
Totally. And we need to give Neve some time off. Because that guy's been working hard for too long.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, catfishing has changed completely since that first series aired. Like now you literally don't know if the person you're talking to in a video call is that person.
Yeah.
They can fake that.
Yeah.
They can fake anything. It's gotten way more sophisticated.
Definitely. The biggest one for me is filters, how they've become an everyday thing. You know, a celebrity will go online to talk about donating money to a charity and they've got a filter on.
Right.
It's just like a natural thing to do now is to just change what your face looks like.
Yes.
And that I've seen is the biggest complaint that people have is, you know, I went to meet this person and they just didn't look the way I thought they did.
Right.
And it's because you...
Okay, I think that's enough. Well, behind the triviality of the video, these two guys make some relevant affirmation that all along our research project phases, we have tried to kind of deconstruct. So some affirmation are, you can fake everything, the people doesn't look like they can fake their real face by, you know, in this way, naturalization, the idea of having a real face. Anyway, what is relevant is also that a mainstream TV program played by MTV targets young adults is devoted ultimately to unmask the deception in virtual community. Just to give you some little context, if necessary, the program of which we were just seeing this little fragment is called Catfish UK, and hosted by these two guys, are apparently very popular in TV and radio culture in the UK. Julia Danuga, which is also the sister of famous rappers Skepta and Uba Butler. So the Catfish UK follow the same format of the original US version, in which the presenter are meeting people across the country who think they have met their soulmate online, only to discover if they have been catfished. So the way that the TV program characterized the online courtship as a space for authenticity, and at the same time as a space so vulnerable to the fake. So starting from here, in the following, I will explore...
Hi, I'm Julie Adenuga.
Okay. In the following, I will explore the catfishing phenomenology as pictured by entertainment textuality, such as this TV format, and in general as pictured by the internet buzz, internet blogs, survey pages on Facebook, which are the main sources of this research and of this call. As theft of virtual images, and in particular filter faces, the catfishing practices poses a problem of the fluidity, variability, and the migration of images in the transformation of the initial value and in dissemination of their agentivity in the collective actuality of the internet. This is one of my main point of interest. My main focus thought for this seminar will be the stratification of levels of deception created by the eruption in the so-called Roman scammer practice of artificial intelligence generated faces that, at least at the first reading, they don't belong to nobody, and thus are fake, catfish fake, and therefore authentic. What we will try to draft here is a reflection about how the new generation of catfishing complexifies further the attribution of an identity to a virtual face. So let's start this itinerary from the beginning, which is the story of the catfishing, at least in its supposed fundamental moment. So before becoming a TV format, Catfish was so the Catfish TV program is a spin-off of the Catfish American documentary that was released in 2010 and directed by Henry Jones and Ariel Schulman. The documentary involved a young man being filmed by the brother as he builds a romantic relationship with a young woman that he met on a social network. So is it not working that the same documentary generated the release, that the same documentary generated an impressive buzz in the internet about when it was unveiled at the Sundance Film Festival, and the buzz was about the very veracity of the same documentary. There are those in the critics and the audience who believe that the whole film was an hoax performed by actors, and they thought that they manipulated the truth. These are, some press release. There is also the documentary also raises discussion about the genre to which it belongs to, either a documentary or a mock documentary. And in the Sundance release of the documentary, a comparison with the mock documentary devoted to Bansky, Exit Through the Gift Shop, has been made by critics. The open credits remark, and I'm gonna show you very quickly.
So you're full on going out? I guess I don't know that much about her. I don't really want her getting hurt. I'm not getting hurt. So what's the next move? I think we drive up to Megan's farm in Michigan. This is it. Just pull up. You want to drive into the driveway? Yeah. Are you crazy? What do you mean? Drive into the driveway. What do you mean? Don't back into it. Why not? Because then we can't see what's in front of us. I'm all scared. Let's go.
So basically, in the credits of the movie, I don't know if you could see it. The credit remark is not a true story. It's not inspired by real events. It's just true. Insisted that nothing in the final cut was fabricated, staged, or recreated. So a documentary or no documentary, Catfish is also described by the producer as a reality thriller. So briefly, this first level of fake about whether it's a documentary or not, whether the story is true or not. I just have to give you some brief insight about the story that the documentary is about. Basically, this young photographer Ned that got in contact with some prodigy artist kid and with their family, and of course with a supposedly very attractive half sister of the young kid. So after many contacts, after the online relationship got on, the protagonist has been sent by these girls picture, also covers of a song performed by her, but then the protagonist discovered that they are taken from YouTube performances. And at the end, what happened that the protagonist went to Michigan in order to find out if this girl was real or not. What he found out ultimately is that the person to whom he was in contact with was the mother of the supposedly attractive girl who didn't exist. And the mother, in order to have some friend due to a very bad life, what he did, he was stealing a picture of face from a variety of other online profile, and having a kind of conversation and friendship relationship with other user who she didn't met. As a happy ending of the documentary or the movie, according to depending on the version, in a sort of moralistic parabola, Angela, the mother who stole faces from a very attractive model of a random girl on Facebook, deactivated her 15 other profile and changed her Facebook profile to a picture of herself, and by so doing exposing her virtual face as the only index of her identity. So, well, it's also worth mentioning, but I won't mention it because it will take a bit of time, and we are a bit. I want to focus on other topics. It's worth mentioning that the documentary is credited with the coining of the term catfishing, that since then has been used also in cybercrime and has been very common now. So in the documentary, the origin of the catfishing has been explained. Maybe we can talk about that during the discussion. So afterwards, every time I pass the slide, it's some sound. Okay, so afterwards, after the movie in 2010, the catfish and the catfishing found its legal stance in both civil and criminal cases as a cybercrime. Recently, also academic literature, we have you have here two references that have studied the phenomenon from a criminology point of view. So recently, academic literature identified a usual academic literature and only identify a usual narrative path of the relationship between the catfish and his or her victim. So basically, the scammer create fake profiles in various social media and dating sites, in particular using attractives, that's a way the literature to describe, picture of men and women, in order to increase, this is another assumption, to increase the likelihood of the victim to respond. The supposed catfish work normally, he has a topical story, the catfish works abroad, as no relative of family that can help him, he or her, and this loneliness of the catfishes normally create a potential bonding point with their target. Normally, the catfish also indicate a romantic interest and profound love for their victim, relatively soon. And when the relationship has been established, there are the literature track a range of ways through which the scammer may defraud the victim. So they will normally, the scammers make arrangement to meet the victim but never made it. And sometime at some point there is some accident or some tragedy popping up, the way so to push the victim to send money or to lend money to the catfish. What is so is I've defined it like a semiotics of passion, because there are lots of pathetic figure in the pattern of the catfish story. So according to the internet buzz, they've dedicated pages and blogs around scammer in dating services. So according to these sources, the catfish can be easily recognized by his or her face. For instance, there is a service that is a Facebook page devoted to catch the catfishes. So according to supposedly evidences from this service, which is called social catfishes, the typical catfishes choose photo for their fake profile by Googling terms such as intelligent man with glasses or white man in suit. Also, the catfish wear the face of a model or a soldier. This is another typical, according to the internet buzz, way of catfish present themselves. By demonstrating in certain widespread beliefs in physiognomic myth of a supposedly trustworthy face. So, for example, in this article, you can see a screenshot of it has been stated the existence of a face more likable to be catfish bait. So such impersonation is certainly one of the most important topics related to the practice of catfishing for semiotics. At the same time, the practice draws attention on the dissemination and exchange of images and their cross-platform circulation, where in this cross-platform realm, Google, of course, can be considered as the main source of face, operate a sort of opaque mediation, till the point that the original owner of the face of a virtual image lose completely such ownership, and the same intentionality of his or her face. One may argue that when an image is online, it can presumably be accessed and used by almost everyone regardless of the intent, thus detaching the image not just from the initial purpose, but also from the initial identity. So already in 2006, the AI curator Marisa Olsen invented the founding Nasty Nets, an internet serving club whose members were internet artists, offline artists, as any kind of creative people and internet enthusiasts. We were invited to post to the website material that we found online, many of which were then remixed or arranged into larger composition of lists of images bearing commonality. So of course, for us, the concept of wandering of images resemble at the already very early consideration by Walter Benjamin. So this concept of wandering of images is turning even more unpredictable with the images generated by the artificial intelligence, and I'm trying to get to the point. Recently, artificial intelligence faces had a layer of uncertainty for also people in dating apps and engaging with Roman scammers. What is surprising is not just how the machine have learned, we know it very well, at least it's a subject of our research. So it's not surprising how the machine have learned to generate faces, but how these faces are become more and more available on the internet, even for free. Here you can see this website that's called This Person Doesn't Exist, that rely on generative adversarial network to generate fake face. If the stolen face were relatively easy to catch, you know, do you remember in that Catfish TV program, normally the procedure is just doing a Google reverse image search to identify whether the face belonged to the person who claimed to be that person or not. So this is basically the tool that in 2021 TV program used for catching catfish. But obviously, when faces are generated by a gun, this practice is even more, obviously more complicated. Nevertheless, there are also websites and blogs that teach how to recognize fake AI generated image. Okay, so one of the main tips that is kind of services in kind of textuality give to user is like, for example, to you can identify whether a face is fake if, for example, if the straight hair looks like paint. I have a picture that I have extracted from a blog. Well, this is about Messier, but anyway, if in case of Messier, you know, this not very the texture of the hair is not really you can't really identify it. Another topic is the symmetry of the face. And what is said is like that faces created by artificial intelligence are very frequently cross-eyed. So the principle of symmetry is not supposedly respected. Also, there is some problem with the teeth in the fake face, in the artificial intelligent phase, as the teeth are misaligned or strangely sized. Then also there is differences in the color around the edge of the face. So these are one of the tips in order to identify a AI generated face. Like trying to making some final remark in all this story. In New Catfish, the New Catfish is arguably a common testing ground for a researcher. And these characteristics are just a way more to refer to how a face is a volatile semiotic object trying to escape even its own falsification. The traditional catfish were accused by identity theft, but my point here is, aren't they stolen also the artificial intelligence generated catfish one? In their article, Excavating Artificial Intelligence, Kate Crawford and Trevor Paglen, that's, you know, is a very well-known artist for us because he has work around the topic of machine learning and image produced by artificial intelligence. So in this article, the two artists questioned the politics of images in machine learning training sets. This is the topic, this is the title of the article. And they start from a very simple and obvious affirmation. They say, building AI systems require data. Supervised machine learning systems designed for object or facial recognition are trained on vast amount of data contained within database made up of many discrete images. They mention in their article the case of this database called the Japanese female facial expression, widely used in effective computer research and development. The dataset contained photographers of 10 Japanese female models making even facial expression that are meant to correlate with 7 basic and emotional states. I won't obviously enter in detail. But my final point is the following. When the cybercrime investigation is still looking for unmasking identity theft, the stealing of faces, the eruption of massively set of apparently nobody's face, the face generated by the artificial intelligence, arguably checkmate the fake as a category and further destabilize the face as a signifier of an individual identity. At the same time, by sorry, something happened. Can you hear me?
Yes,
yes. The presentation, yeah, the presentation
hear you, but
it was the last slide, so I just finished.
Oh, okay.
It was the last, just the last.
It was a catfish conspiracy.
Yeah. So what my last sentence of the presentation was, in fact, at the same time, by advocating for a collective ownership of the face, one can denounce a collective fraud. And this was the end of my presentation today.